What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have so much to talk about in today's video. We actually had a really crazy day today. We had Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of other cryptocurrencies basically crash this morning, and we had the stock market gap down and then run up. We have a lot to talk about in today's video. We're going to be talking about what's going on with cryptocurrencies and then also some of the top stocks to watch for the rest of this week. At the end of the video, we have a $2.6 million option to watch out for, so make sure to stick around for that. And if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe. But Tom, what happened in the market today?
Man, Bitcoin really fell off overnight. We can see yesterday it was hovering like around 43,000, and then overnight and then into this morning, we can see it really tanked off. It was at around 40K, fell all the way down to lows around 30,000, which was just insane. And man, I know a few people who were trying to buy it low. I know you were trying to place some orders low, and there was just a lot of confusion with the brokers kind of really lagging behind and crashing due to the volatility. But man, this was really insane. And Elon actually brought it right back up. He tweeted that Tesla had diamond hands, and that really implied that Tesla was going to either keep holding Bitcoin or that they either rebought Bitcoin. But most people think that Tesla is still holding their position in Bitcoin, and it really sent the sentiment back to the upside, and we came all the way back up to 40,000 on an insane move. And it was just a great trade by everybody who was able to grab it down here. But like I said, those brokers were really lagging behind and crashing early this morning, so it really made it pretty difficult.
For sure. So this is actually one of the craziest moves I've seen in a while. And there's three main reasons why cryptos are falling in general right now. One is widening their crypto crackdown on especially Bitcoin. So that's the first reason. Another reason is how Elon Musk had a relatively negative sentiment with Bitcoin the other day. He said Indeed, and it's kind of a long story, but on Twitter, it kind of seemed like Tesla was going to sell their Bitcoin, or they already did sell their Bitcoin, but it turns out that Elon said that Tesla has diamond hands, so now it seems like he didn't sell Bitcoin, or he's been holding the whole time. And then another thing is just Bitcoin and cryptos have just been going straight up for the past couple months, and everyone was just kind of expecting a pullback. And another thing is a lot of people are I don't want to say over leveraged, but a lot of people are significantly leveraged with crypto. So when we see a pullback, it gets exponential very quickly. So these are the three main reasons I really like Bitcoin and Ethereum for the long term. They're my favorite, and only God knows what's going to happen in the short term, but I like them for the long term. But Tom, what else happened in the market today?
Yeah, there was actually a Fed minutes meeting that came out today, and we all know that there was an FOMC press conference a few weeks ago that really sent the markets kind of down. And Powell started talking about inflation and stuff like that. It actually initially sent the market down on the day the press conference came out, but then the next day the SPY actually recovered back. But this morning, well, I shouldn't say this morning, but this afternoon around 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the FOMC minutes actually came out, which is just pretty much showing what they exactly talked about in their meeting. And Powell always gives the press conference after the meeting, but this shows specifically what they were talking about, and it really sent the market down initially. We can see the SPY, as soon as this came out intraday, the SPY posted some pretty big red candles, and people were getting pretty worried, but then it just recovered right back up, as we see the SPY do quite a bit. And honestly, there wasn't too much negative talks. They were just talking about that over the next few months, they might have to reconsider their asset purchase programs if obviously if the economy keeps going pretty well, because they don't want to keep pumping up the market and kind of overinflate it in a way. And that's kind of what they're looking at, I think. And it's just one of those things to look at going forward. But it did actually send the market down midday, and then, like I said, recovered right back up. And overall, the SPY would just had a crazy day, going really low to open the day, and then all day long it just recovered back. Even with this bad news in the middle of the day, still recovered up and pushed through. So very nice to see. And also tech shares were really reversing.
Yeah, so I'm really glad to see that the market was able to come back up throughout the day, but I don't think this downtrend is over. I'm not going to buy puts right now, but I know I said this in yesterday's video too, but the smart money behind the $217 million worth of QQQ put options, they're still holding. And ever since they bought in those puts, the market has basically went straight down. And if they're still holding, they clearly think the market has more room to fall. So Either way, it's just interesting, and I'm just going to be neutral overall on the market right now. But Tom, what's going on with Ford?
Yeah, they actually have to do more production cuts. And we've been hearing production cuts with Ford having to do with the semiconductor shortage over the past few months. And they've been talking about possibly having to do more cuts. And news came out today on CNBC that Ford is to halt production of the F-150, Bronco Sport, and other vehicles due to the chip shortage. And man, Ford has done very good this year, but they will halt or cut production at eight of their North American plants for varying periods of time through June due to an ongoing shortage of semiconductor chips impacting the auto industry. And the affected vehicles range from the Ford Mustang and Escape crossover to the highly profitable F-150 pickup and Bronco Sport SUV. And this is what CNBC reports. But overall, I mean, in my own opinion, it just seems like Ford is up quite a bit year over year. COVID really hurt Ford and made them go really low. And, we've been talking about them quite a bit, them and GM, over the past couple months as they start to reveal some of their electric vehicles and stuff like this. But it seems like this semiconductor shortage is going to really end up hurting them. And, they've even talked about production cuts in the past, which really like sent them down from their highs around $13 and made them kind of just consolidate here. And honestly, this is just pretty bad news. And if it kind of hurts like their F-150 sales or their Bronco sales, maybe expect another dip in Ford. And like I said, they're up so much year over year. The lows were around $4. They're sitting around $12 right now. So honestly, I could see a little bit of a pullback, maybe to like $10 or $9 over the next few months. And especially if the overall market comes down, I mean, it should hurt Ford pretty bad, actually.
Very interesting. Well, let's get right into our momentum plays in the member of the day. Today's member of the day is RV. So huge shout out, RV. Thanks for being a great member of the Discord. You've been super active lately. So thanks a ton for being a great member of the community. But Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Shopify.
Yeah, with Shopify, they had a pretty defined double top today, if you count the end of the day, but make them break above 1,173 tomorrow.
All right. And then with the next one, we have Enphase, which had an amazing day today.
Yep, ENPH, make them break above 131.
All right. And then we have Airbnb.
A, B, and B. This one was actually a really nice play today, but make them break above 138.50.
Sounds great. So we are eyeing Shopify, Enphase, and Airbnb for potential day trades tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And with Airbnb, the bot actually had a solid day trade on it. The call here, let me get the exact numbers real quick. So the bot called out Airbnb calls at like $166 during the day, and they ran all the way up to $215. So if you want to get trades like this sent to you every single day, you can click the first link in the description down below. It's a bot that Tom and I use, and overall it's been pretty great. Like I said, it's the first link in the description down below. But Tom, let's get right into the $2.6 million options trade for this week. And we are looking at the AMD 77 strike call options that expire this Friday, May 21st. So looking at AMD, it had a great day today, and I can definitely see it popping back up over the rest of the week.
Yeah, me too. I really love AMD. It's actually sitting right at a big time support around like $73, $74. And they've bounced off of it a ton of times. I have it right here on the chart off of this blue trend line. They've just bounced off of it a ton of times. Really, I'm looking forward to continue up tomorrow. It's just, they had a really good close today, consolidating above that 500 EMA as well. And also right on that little support that they broke, 75.50. So they broke through 75.50 and then hit it at the end of the day and kind of held that ground. And I honestly really like the setup here. I would think that they're longing these calls. The 77 was the high of today. So hopefully they're longing it. They're only about like 90 cents, 80 cents away from that. And they're not too far. So honestly, just looking at the trade, looking at how the market recovered back up, maybe that'll kind of help AMD come back up tomorrow. And hopefully they got some calls on this, but if not, and we see it go down, then they might have shorted it. We'll just have to see what happens.
Sounds great. Well, let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. And with the first question, we have Justin saying, great video, guys. Haven't seen The Big Short movie. Gonna have to check it out. It's honestly one of my favorite movies. It's a little confusing. I watched it probably like 4 or 5 times actually, but it's a really great movie, and it kind of just like explains to you on like a deep level what actually happened in like 2008. It's actually pretty crazy. I highly recommend watching it. It's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I love that movie, and Michael Burry's representation in there is really awesome as well. And if you're hearing a lot about him right now, definitely check it out. I mean, it's very interesting, and also it'll kind of put in your head, especially for newer traders who haven't really been in a bubble or seen a too big of a crash yet. It'll kind of put in your head, some of the indicators and some of the ways at least people go around looking at how these crashes happen and kind of how you have to anticipate it, because you obviously can't pick the top. And that movie will kind of explain that as well, how he was holding through a loss for a couple of years before that finally showed up on paper.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie. I highly recommend watching it. With the next question, we have Rich saying, "How do you guys feel about Ride and RKT?" I added Ride at $9.60, and then we'll ride the momentum until I see a break, and we'll jump out. Peloton is still a hold for me, and I'm excited. It's holding around $95 today, so I think Peloton's gonna be great for the long term. For Ride in RKT, I only like it for the short term. I'm not a huge fan of them for the long term right now. That doesn't mean they're bad. It's just they're not plays for me. But Ride is actually popping up a lot. I know that there's talks of a short squeeze, but that one looks pretty solid.
It does actually. Yeah, there's actually a lot of green candles coming in to Ride. They do have earnings coming up in a few weeks, but I would think that they could do pretty good. Like you said, a lot of momentum coming in. Watch out. There's a pretty good resistance at like 1250. We're about 1 point away from that, but I think it could be a pretty good momentum play.
All right. And then we have Outlaw saying, "Hey, Mike and Tom, happy Taco Tuesday. Thank you for the market wrap up. I got Palantir at $20. What do you think will happen over the next 3 months?" So only God knows what's going to happen, but I really like them for the long term. And looking off their chart, it looks like they are ready to rise. Yeah, I really like the setup overall. Shares would be the best way to go, though. And it seems like that's what you have. And I think if you hold it for the long term, you'll be pretty good. It really just depends, like for short term movement, what's going on with growth stocks and things like that. Lately, it's been pretty bad, but I expect that to turn around sometime pretty soon.
Yeah, be a little careful. The market might try to like shake you out of the position. And like Mike said, there might be a little bit of short-term volatility, but in the longer run, I mean, $20 is an awesome support on Palantir also. So really just watch out, because they might try to shake you out like over the next few days to few weeks. But I think if you keep holding for the longer run, it'll be pretty good.
Sounds good. And then we have Jack Tastic saying, "Good stuff, fellas. Are either of you in the QQQ put options that expire on December 17th?" So these are the QQQ put options that have $217 million put into them. No, we are not. And then he said, "Also, what would be a good exit strategy as far as the QQQ price goes?" So great question. What I would do is just follow the smart money. Like, we know where they got in at, and like you can just kind of track them pretty easily, especially if you're using Thinkorswim. So yeah, I would definitely recommend just following their exit. If they have enough conviction in this play to put $217 million into it, they definitely have enough tools and research in place to find the optimal exit strategy. For those of you who are looking to follow this play, it is the QQQ 303 strike put options that expire on December 17th of 2021. So feel free to check that out on your trading platform. And if you're using like Thinkorswim or even E-Trade, you should be able to plot that option pretty easily and follow them pretty easily. So great question overall. And with the next question, we have Philip saying TTCF. So Tom, let's check out TTCF. I know it's running up a good amount lately.
Yeah, Tattoo Chef. I don't really know what to think about the company too much, other than they're sitting on the trend line and they're holding support pretty well. There is a pretty solid resistance here at like $20.25. I'm not sure of any of the big catalysts behind them, if they've had any recently, but I will say off of this bottom blue trend line, looks pretty good. It's actually held its ground and it's moving well off the support. So honestly, looks like a pretty good setup. And I kind of like how it's been consolidating for like the past couple of years. And it just looks like a nice, like steady stock that stays between the range. And I'm just glad it hasn't fallen out and below that like $16 support.
All right. And then we have Jay saying time for Teledoc. So let's check it out. TDOC. They've been doing great over the past couple years, but the past couple months has been horrible. It fell over 50% from all-time highs. And to be honest, I'm actually looking at this one for a potential dip buy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think. There, like you said, it could be a good dip buy. My only small concern is that, it's a teledoc company, so obviously, like, they should be good for the longer run, but their price did increase so much because of COVID and stuff like that going on. So, like, if people start visiting the doctor in person more again or something like that, then the company might suffer. But in the longer run, it should do pretty good. It's just in the short term, like, how much are those lost subscribers and stuff like that going to affect them?
Good point. I definitely see what you're saying, and I think that's definitely reflected in their just their movement over the past couple months because they lost over 50% of their value. So overall, like I like them, and I'm probably going to end up selling puts on them pretty soon, depending on what the premiums look like. But Tom, what are some of the top stocks or your like options or cryptocurrencies that you're watching for tomorrow?
Wow, I mean, we're seeing so much stuff moving around. Bitcoin is obviously a big watcher, so Mara and Riot could be pretty good, especially if Bitcoin starts to keep flying up. Mara and Riot could really start to rise, and it was still, Mara was still down 5% today, even though Bitcoin started to pop up. They just could not reach back up to that close of yesterday. So watch out because Mara and Riot could move. And then another thing I'm really watching is GLD. This had a crazy day today, especially with that Fed minutes meeting coming out, or the meeting minutes, I should say. And we can see how gold really tanked off once that started to come out. But unlike the overall market, gold failed to recover back up. And I don't know if that's a sign that maybe gold's going to start going down now if the market goes up. But just a very interesting thing to see with GLD, how it went down on those talks with the minutes, because I would have kind of expected it to maybe send gold to the upside, because as the market was kind of going down early in the morning, gold was kind of popping. So it's just one of those weird scenarios where gold had a really big fluctuation. So watch out, because I think a lot of this stuff coming out with the Fed and with inflation and stuff is going to affect gold. Obviously, it's going to affect the overall market, but I think gold is going to be a pretty big opportunity as well.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you want to trade with Tom and I every single day and get access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. And guys, come join Tom and I live every single morning at Market Open. Tom and I live stream every single morning at Market Open on the new Stocked Up live channel. The link is in the description down below. And then also if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.